ជំរាបសួរចាសូមស្វាគមន៍មកកាន់ហាង sliquor ចាថ្ងៃនេះពួកយើងនឹងធ្វើបទបង្ហាញតាក់ទងជាមួយនឹងប្រភេទស្រាក្រហមមកពីប្រទេសបារាំងដែលមានឈ្មោះថា Chateau Haut Selve in Graves មកពីតំបន់ Bordeaux.
Hi, I'm Darren Gall. We're back at the tasting bench in sliquor and we're with Morgan and Judy. And today we're going to try a very special wine from the Alves region of Bordeaux called Haut Selve from 2016. We're going to open this bottle, decant it and share it with you. This one is under cork, where the last couple of wines that we've tasted together have been under screw cap.
What's the difference, Darren, between cork and screw cap? Because I do see some bottles we have here have the cork like you're doing now, and some are just the twist screw.
Yeah, it's a matter of quality control. It's a preference thing. Corks can have a chemical called TCA, tetrachloroaldehyde, which if there's too much of it in the cork, it can spoil the wine. Which is why when you go to your favourite restaurant and order a bottle of wine, they pour you a little bit so that you can check if the wine is suffering from a bad cork or not.
Okay.
So a lot of producers have decided that screw caps are a safer bet. Now my feeling on the matter is that screw caps aren't perfect, but they're more consistent than cork.
All right.
So let me just decant. I'll tell you a little bit about the Graves region, which is just to the southeast of the city of Bordeaux, on the left bank. So southeast of to the northwest of Bordeaux is the famous region of Médoc, where a lot of the most famous and most expensive Bordeaux come from. And to the southeast is Graves. Graves is a very old region, believed to be first planted by the Romans. And you see I'm just aerating this wine in the decanter.
Nice. We did this last time.
Yep, there we go. The Graves is a very old region, and even in the time of Eleanor of Aquitaine, which was the 1100s, there was already trade in the claret wines of Graves between the royal house of England and the Graves region. So it was already back then a popular region for wine starting to be exported around the known world at that time. So in those days, the Médoc, which is the most famous part of Bordeaux today, was just marshland and swamp. And it wasn't until much later, in the 1700s, that area was drained and vineyards were planted.
Became really beautiful, huh?
So the special thing about the wines from this region is the Cabernet grows in the soils that are limestone and gravel, hence the name Graves. It's very gravelly soil that found its way to that part of the world during the Ice Age with glaciers depositing quartz, limestone and lots of gravel. Now, Cabernet in a cool part of the world like Graves performs well in these soils. Why does Cabernet like limestone? And we were talking about limestone last week. Grapevines don't like to be they don't like the root systems to be flooded or soaked in water. So limestone is free draining. It drains well, but it retains moisture when it's dry, when the weather's dry. So it doesn't flood, but it will retain some moisture, and it's high in calcium. And that works very well for transference of nutrients up into the vine and up into the fruit.
Wow.
Also, the gravels, which are like little pebbles, they retain heat very, very well in the daytime. And then at night time, they radiate that heat and keep the cold vineyards to a warmer temperature and keep some warmth at the plant level. So that works really well for Cabernet in that area as well.
I didn't realize that the soil has so much to do with the production of wine. It's amazing.
There's a French word called teau, and it basically essentially means that wine tastes like the place it comes from. And a lot of that is not just climate, but soil.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at this. This wine is 55% Merlot, 45% Cabernet Sauvignon, and 2016 was quite a good region in Bordeaux, considered a good vintage. But it was a cool vintage. So you're looking for wines with good structure, good acidity, some freshness, not big powerful wines like from a warmer year, but wines that are very elegant.
Yeah.
It smells really, really good.
Great nose, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
So the wine has spent about 12 months in French oak. About 30% of that was new oak.
Just trying to get this spinning the wine glass tint out.
Great aromas. So really concentrated fruit. The oak is there, but it's like in the background. It just adds a nuance to the wine.
Yeah.
Can you share me the history of this wine vineyard.
This particular vineyard is a really interesting story for the fact that it was believed to be a vineyard here hundreds of years ago, but because of phylloxera, which was a mite that attacked vineyards all over Europe, the vines, it ceased to become a vineyard in the 1800s, and the land here lay fallow, which means it was uncultivated for the next 120 years. And then the Le Gouge family, who own several wineries in Bordeaux and in Madaran, and they own Le Bord Armagnac as well, they purchased the land and they basically planted a new vineyard in 1993. It was the first new vineyard in Bordeaux to be planted in the 20th century.
Wow.
Wow.
So very unique site.
So it's caused some chaos, huh?
Well, it's an opportunity to go in and take advantage of that soil that's just been lying fallow. So the soil was, in beautiful condition. When you tend to harvest soil every year for agriculture, you really have to nurture it and look after it. Whereas if you leave it lie fallow, it goes back to its natural state, and it's obviously very fertile and excellent for the planting of grapevines.
All right, amazing.
So I love this aroma.
Yeah.
Really concentrated, and there's lots of lovely dark fruits there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on the palate, the Merlot comes to the fore. Really soft, fine tannins, almost a gentle wine on the palate, but nice depth of fruit mid palate, and then that cool, because it's a cool vintage, you get that bright spot of acidity on the back palate. So really nice structure.
Really beautiful, really, really nice.
I'd say this is
A little more earthy than the last wine we tried.
Yeah.
would you say?
I think that's that terroir coming
Yeah,
through. It's
yeah.
very cool climate. Also, last week we had a wine from the New World, from Australia,
Yeah.
which tends to have more mean sunlight hours during the year. And the difference I find between Northern Hemisphere wines and Southern Hemisphere wines, and particularly what we call, say, Old World wines of Europe and New World wines, is that the New World wines are more fruit-driven, and then the Old World wines, it's a bit more about mouthfeel and texture, and they're a bit more restrained and working on that lovely palate structure as opposed to the fruit flavours.
Yeah.
I don't say one's better than the other, but that's how I appreciate them for what they are.
Yeah, they're both great. I get a lot of black currant, but then it's kind of the oakiness that you talk about come through with that bit of earthiness flavour.
And Merlot as a variety has a really nice sweet spot mid-palate, but it has very fine tannin chains. So the molecules that form the tannins are very fine. So they're very soft tannins. They're not those aggressive, harsh tannins that you get from, say, Cabernet, often from the Medoc. More Merlot, more finer structure, more approachable in its youth. So 2016, this is a wine that's actually drinking quite well. It will cellar well because it does have that bright acidity and that oak tannin, but it's drinking quite well now.
When you talk about cellar, you're talking about like shelf life, like taking it home or leaving it for a while? Or?
Yeah, if you put it in your cellar in good condition, so average temperatures, cool, not too hot, not changing temperatures, no sunlight, then it will improve with age. The wine will actually, those tannins will dissipate, the alcohol will sweat up a bit and infuse the flavours. I say it's a bit like leaving a tiramisu in the fridge overnight, or a good stew in the fridge overnight. Everything, all those flavours get to meld together and it always tastes better the next day. Cellaring good wine will improve over time, and that's why wines appreciate in price as they get older, but only the ones that are made to cellar, not every wine. Some wines are made to drink now.
Yeah.
Some wines, like this one, can be cellared. I'd cellar this confidently for 5, maybe 10 years.
Oh, wow.
But it is approachable now.
Okay, nice. Very nice.
What do you think, guys? Some questions?
About the taste, I'm thinking about the food.
You're like me. I always think about food when I drink wine. What would you like to eat with this drink?
I think some should be with beef.
Beef would be good.
Yeah.
I'd
Any
be thinking maybe not something as heavy as roast beef, but maybe a nice stew, because the Merlot's a bit softer, a bit lighter, or even some roast pork. I'd love to drink this with some roast pork.
Oh, that'd be good. That'd be nice.
Or barbecue pork. Some of the stuff we see on the roadside out here in Phnom Penh.
Local Khmer.
Take a bottle of Haut Selve with you and sit down and drink that.
Yeah.
So but red meats, again, it's got that acidity and tannin to break down fat molecules and cut through oil, and it's got the body to go with, say, at least a stew, a beef stew, or an osso buco, or something like a nice barbecue pork.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Enjoy that one?
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, this is really amazing.
It's a really
nice.
classic example
Really
of a
nice.
good Bordeaux. And the other thing I like about this is it's not as expensive as you would think. It's actually a really good price.
Yeah.
And it's a wine I find myself going to quite often. I drink it quite often because I really like it.
So if you're just starting to get into Bordeaux and trying to maybe experience more wines,
Yeah.
this would be a really good pick.
This is a lovely entree into Bordeaux that you can drink now without having to wait a few years to see if you like it.
Nice, perfect.
Nice.
Perfect.
Nice one.
Enjoy, guys.
All right.
Good to see you again.
Cheers.
See you next
Cheers.
week
Yes,
for another
thank you so
session.
much, Darren.
Here. Thank you,
Cheers,
Darren.
Judy. Cheers, guys.
Enjoy.